Now, big revolution coming. India's big IT services companies have ganged up to keep salary of freshers low, taking advantage of oversupply of software engineers at the entry level, says industry veteran TV Mohandas Pai. Pai said as against offers of rupees 2.25 lakh per annum that used to go out for freshers 2 decades ago, they have risen only to rupees 3.5 lakh now, which suggests a massive decrease in real wages from an inflation-adjusted perspective. Pai, who has served as CFO at IT major Infosys from 94 to 2006, said it's a very sad fact that big companies are talking to each other not to increase freshers' salaries.
Well, in the backdrop of fears already existing in the Indian IT sector over Trump's protectionist policies, Mr. Mohandas Pai, the former CFO of Infosys, has raised another issue. He has gone on to state that Indian IT companies are ganging up to not pay workers as much as they can be paid. Let's quickly go to Mr. Pai himself and ask him what exactly he means by his statement. Sir, you use the word gang up. What exactly is gang up? How are these IT companies ganging up against the employees?
It means the CEOs of this companies and people below them are talking to each other and telling each other not to raise the fresher salaries. I know it for sure. Okay, I know the conversations. I know 2 CEOs who told me this personally. And, it's a very sad thing because freshers have not seen an increase in their starting compensation for the last 7-8 years. You can look at the data. The data is very clear. And all of them pay almost the same within a 5% band. And it means all of them are together. And parting, I think, is very unethical and it must stop. And I think they must pay people, freshers, more. The real income of these people has come down over 7 years. Over 7 years, inflation has been 70-80%. The UPA, last 5 years, UPA was very bad. And these people are coming because they want jobs. And they all gone to engineering. The number of graduates come up has gone up. And the young people say they must be given a fair deal. They're not being given a fair deal. And in lieu of this, people at the senior levels in the last 7 years have seen rise in income by 2 or 3%. Some CEOs are paid exorbitant salaries. But I have no objection they're being paid salaries fair to people at the bottom. It is these people at the bottom who come in, who get trained, who write code. People in the first 3 years of work are the main people who write code and do all the hard work. They work 13, 14 hours a day, 6 to 7 hours, 7 days a week. They don't get overtime. And they slog their butts out. And you've got to be fair to them and not just keep the salary the same pace which is there 7 years ago. And that's why people from tier 1 colleges don't want to go to service companies. And the service companies have to understand, if you don't get the brightest from all over India, 5 years, 10 years later, you're going to be in trouble. This industry was built by the brightest minds in India. And you need to be fair. And this fairness seems to have gone away instead of the selfishness, self-centered compensation increases. And the boards of this company should inquire and see why the differential between the starting salary and the highest salary has become so wide. It was not so wide for 5-7 years ago. So I think it's gone wrong, and I think it's time they introspected, and it's time they became much more fair.
Right, and also one of the factors that really enables companies to do that is the surplus of talent available, surplus of engineers available in the market. But you also went on to speak about the level of attrition increasing because of this unfair pay that has been given to them. So what really is the direct impact that it will have on the industry as well as the individuals involved in it?
You see, the service companies are large employers, and after working for 1 or 2 years, some of them go for higher studies, some of them try to join other companies and go elsewhere, so they get out. If 100 join in the first year as a fresher, at the end of the 3rd year, there are possibly about only maybe 50 or 45 left. So attrition is very high, and the reason is very clear, is pay. So people leave jobs, and the companies get hurt. They don't understand high attrition is bad for them, and they get hurt. And I think there's stagnation about 10 years. Because there are a lot of people there getting very good salary. They're stylish about 10 years. And in the senior places, like I said, the salaries have become very, very high in the last 7 years. I think there has to be some fairness. And this industry was a good employer, was a fair employer. And this industry built the educated middle class. And fairness demands that the 3.25, 3.5 lakhs should go to at least 5 lakhs. And I'm sure all freshers all over the country will support me on this. I've been stating this for the last 3 or 4 years. And I think it's I'm deeply hurt. I'm deeply hurt because at the end of the day, we are all human beings. We need to be compassionate. We must give young people a break. We should not exploit them. I oppose trade unions coming in Chennai for the IT industry, service industry, because I believe they'll disrupt this industry. Now, when you don't pay people well and you make them work very hard, don't pay them overtime, you're going to have regulatory issues. So you must be careful about how you treat people.
Right. Also, speaking of treating people in the backdrop of newer technology coming out, and experts also opining that India's traditional IT sector could be under threat from newer technology like cloud. Do you feel that it is all the more important to retain good talent with fair pay?
Look, I don't accept that in 3 years, 65% of Indian IT will be through. I don't accept. They're all rubbish.
Okay.
I seen that McKinsey report for IT where they said by 2010 there'll be 500,000 people short. It didn't happen. I mean, these reports are done without any deep analysis, understanding the work done by Indian IT, and know what they're doing. I don't believe in all this. I heard the CEO of a company saying, "Oh, 65% cannot be retrained." If he's gone and hired the wrong kind of people, you must pity him. I don't believe that. These are young people, top 20% of universities. They're very bright. They can be retrained. And they're retrained very easily. Cloud is no big deal. Cloud is an evolution, not a revolution. All right? Artificial intelligence building blocks are now become an evolution, not a revolution. It was a revolution a few years ago. Machine learning is something which is very ordinary. All right? In Bangalore, just in the last 6 months, 40 companies have come up on artificial intelligence. Where do they get all this talent? They're the same people. They've been trained. So I think people are making much more of this 65% jobs, 70% jobs. They'll be without jobs. I think they're very alarmist. And especially the McKinsey report, which said in 3 years' time, some 65%. 3 years is 36 months, right? It's just about 12 quarters. We'll wait and see. I think, you must come back out 3 years and say, where are the 65% jobs which have disappeared? We should show up these people for what they are. Yes, there is automation happening. There is a need to reskill. Companies are doing it. Companies are doing it. They got huge training establishment. They're all doing it. And if we think sitting outside, we know much better than these companies who are facing the marketplace, who are facing the clients, who know what to do, then I think we must be mistaken.
Well, thank you, Mr. Pai, for speaking to us. Well, there you have it, Mr. Pai going on to state that it is extremely essential at the moment to retain talent because the companies will suffer in the future and so will the industry. And hence, the companies should stop ganging up against employees and should pay them, give them a fair hike that the market reserves for them. In Bengaluru, with video journalist Padmanabha Rao, Nischita, WION.